clase. It's my meatball sub. It's really good. Okay. Hoy hablamos de los verbos sandalia and el preterito. So today we're going to talk about sandal verbs in the preterite. Okay, so let me take you back to Spanish 1 and Spanish 2 for just a second. You all learned about what we called boot verbs. And if you remember, this is the present tense, not for the preterite, but in the present tense, you guys learned about a bunch of verbs that we called boot verbs. Pedir is my example here. What happens, let's make this a little bit smaller. What happens is, same thing happens when you conjugate the verb. I'm going to rewrite my root in all my boxes. Then I'm going to add my endings. And remember, this is just present tense, not the past tense. Just using this as an example. Oops. Now I'm confusing present tense with the preterite. Okay, and what you learned is that pedir has an E to I stem change inside what we call the boot, the shape of the boot. So that E becomes an I in each of these forms. So now in the preterite tense, I'm going to show you a few verbs that work kind of the same way as boot verbs work in the present tense. Okay, you're going to notice on your notes that in the he, she form, right here, right, and here, and the ellos, ellas, ustedes forms, that this box is bolded. So now, the difference between boot verbs and these guys is that change that happens is not going to be happening in the forms inside the box. Instead, the change is going to be happening inside what I'm going to refer to as the sandal. Okay, so it's just these two forms. So we're going to pretend this is a sandal. The changes, let's go ahead and talk about verb meanings. I'd like for you to have your notes open so that you can copy this as you go. I know that you'll have the answers at the end from me. However, it's just good practice to go ahead and type them out for yourself or write them out for yourself because it's going to help your memory with these verbs. Okay, leer. Let's.
Leer is to read. Creerse is to fall. Preferir, to prefer. Pedir, to ask for, or to order. Okay, jumping over to page 2. Servir, to serve. Dormir, to sleep. Morir, to die. Right here, there should be an accent there. Right here is to laugh. Last one, seguir means to follow.
Okay, what we're going to do, and this is what I recommend, I want you to go ahead and conjugate each of these verbs as if they're regular ER verbs or regular IR verbs. If you're not typing these verbs and you're writing them, you may want to use a pencil because you are going to go back and make some corrections to them or make some changes to them. But the easiest thing to do with these is really just conjugate them like you would a regular ER or IR verb. And a quick note, caerse is a reflexive verb. So if you noticed this little se at the end, some of you may remember how reflexive verbs work. If you don't, just copy what I write and we will do a review of reflexive verbs in the next couple of weeks. Okay. Whew. That was a lot of work. Okay, I have conjugated all of these verbs as if they are a regular ER or IR verb. Okay, here's what makes them special. We're going to start with the top two. Sometimes I refer to these guys as double vowel verbs. You'll notice inside these verbs for leer and caer, there are two vowels right next to each other. For these guys, the el, ellos forms, the I converts to a Y. So what I'm going to do, let's pick a color. What color am I going to use? Let's use blue. Oh, we should use the rainbow happy. Okay, we're going to use the rainbow happy. Okay, so inside the box, the I converts to a Y. Inside the box, that I becomes a Y. Let's do that a couple times. Good. So the LA form, he read, she read, leyó. They read, leyeron. He fell down, se cayó. They fell down, se cayeron. That is this part. The other trick to this, because there are some rules about vowels when they're next to each other and accents in Spanish. The other thing that does happen with these is all of the I's, and you'll notice, oh no, you're going to notice all of the I's have an accent mark. So leíste, leí, leímos, leístes. Caíste, caímos, caístes. Okay, let's move on to the other set of verbs. The remaining verbs have either an E to I change or an O to U. And again, these changes happen inside the Sandal box. So, preferir, there is no O in the stem. And if you remember, the same rule applies when you have two E's inside the stem, it's always going to apply to the second one. So this E becomes an I. So that becomes prefiero. The second E becomes an I. So prefiero, prefirieron. Okay, let's look at pedir. Pedir it's an E to I stem change. So this now becomes pidió and pidieron. Okay, those two are E to I's. Let's take another look. Up here, servir is also an E to I. So that means I'm going to look inside the box only, and that E converts to an I. So this becomes sirvió and sirvieron. Okay, dormir and morir are what we call, let's stick with our magical rainbow color here. Dormir and morir are both, come back, O to you. O to you. And morir has an O to U stem change as well. So inside the box only, I'm going to erase my O. I'm going to change it to a U. And to say she slept, durmió, they slept, durmieron. Okay, let's talk about morir. Also O to U. I'm going to get, oh no, I got rid of the wrong one. Let's change it. Okay, inside the box only. We're going to change the O to a U. So when I step on that bug and he died as a result of my large shoe, I would say murió. He died, it died, she died. Murieron, when I take out lots of spiders from my garage, murieron. Okay. Reír and seguir. Reír is tricky. It has some slight exceptions to the rule. This is an E to I, and what happens with reír is this one really changes a lot. I wish I could make this one easier. I'm actually just going to erase the whole thing, and I'm going to rewrite it. Reír becomes río. No accent, nothing, just río. However, this reíste takes on an accent in the eyes. Reímos, reístes, and this E becomes an I, but they don't want two I's in a row. So my Egos form is simply rieron. Okay, this one I want you to know about. I'm not going to overly test you on this because there's so many exceptions to the rule, but it is an important one to know. Okay, very last one to follow. This is an E to I stem changer. So only inside the box, I need to get rid of the E in the stem and change it to an I. So that becomes siguió, like my dog followed, or they followed, siguieron. All right, great job, you all. I have a practice for you. Check it out. Muy bien.